Okay, welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take that stack of source material you send us and really unpack it.
Yeah, we try to get right to the core stuff, the surprising bits and the actionable knowledge you can actually use.
Exactly. Think of us as guides, helping you sort through it all so you walk away feeling, well, informed and ready.
Ready to apply it.
Absolutely. And today we're diving into something that's just so relevant for, well, everyone, how we connect, how we talk to each other.
Yeah, our source material today, it's excerpts from a book all about improving social skills, conversation, building like real connections.
It lays out a path, basically, for talking to anyone, connecting, effortlessly and making real friends.
So our mission is to pull out the most important nuggets, give you a kind of map to become a more confident, skilled communicator.
Right. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the starting point in this source, the foundational idea, it's pretty impactful, maybe a little uncomfortable. It basically argues that your connection to other people, it's everything. It influences your relationships, your job, your happiness, even like your life satisfaction.
That really hits home. The source makes this point. You could have all the money, all the success, but if you're lonely, are you really happy?
Exactly. Contrast that with being surrounded by people who care, even with less material stuff. That feels like real wealth, doesn't it?
It really does. It sets the stakes high right away.
And it introduces this very relatable story about the author's friend, Kyle.
Ah, yes, Kyle.
So Kyle, married for 20 years, gets divorced, and then finds himself alone at his sister's wedding.
Surrounded by strangers, friends of friends.
And he just froze. He realized his ex-wife had always been the social one. He felt totally stuck after a few awkward hellos.
Just didn't know how to talk to people anymore, lacked the confidence.
And this leads to what I think is a really freeing idea from the source,
Which is?
that being confident, charismatic, open to connecting, these are learned skills. They're not just things you're born with.
Okay, this is interesting. It flips that whole idea that some people are just naturals.
Right. The source argues you're not seeing some innate gift. You're seeing practice. Years of it, maybe conscious, maybe not.
Like the analogy they use.
Yeah. Simple but powerful. How do you get better at swimming? You swim. Writing. You write.
Connecting with people.
You practice connecting with people. You put in the reps. It's a skill you build.
So the journey the source maps out and the one we'll follow, it starts inward, right? With yourself.
Exactly. Then it builds out with specific skills, listening, questions, stories, and finally aims for building those actual relationships.
Let's unpack that starting point then. Chapter 1, starting with you, seems a bit counterintuitive if the goal is talking to others.
It does, but the logic is sound. You can't really connect genuinely or project confidence until you have a decent relationship with, well, yourself.
A strong sense of self, as the source calls it.
Yeah, that's the anchor. Without it, the source warns, you kind of drift, feel uncertain, anxious, maybe unsatisfied, and not really know why.
Like Kyle again, his sense of self was so tied to being a husband. When that ended, who was he in that room? What did he like?
He was drifting socially, exactly. So the source gives a practical exercise.
The checking in with myself thing.
Right. Quiet spot, pen, paper. Ask yourself honest questions about who you are now and focus on the difficult ones, the ones you maybe avoid.
And it warns about that false sense of self, right? Like acting a certain way just to fit in or believing negative things others say about you.
Yeah, the goal is peeling that back to find the true you, not the version shaped by others' expectations or criticisms.
So you write it all down, then what? Let it sit.
Yeah, process it for a few days, maybe a week, jot down new thoughts, start building that foundation of self-awareness.
Okay, so you get this clearer picture. How does that help you talk to people?
Well, that awareness helps you identify your values, what actually matters to you. If you realize animals deeply move you, maybe compassion is a core value.
And knowing your values helps you make choices.
Exactly. Choices aligned with your true self. That leads to more satisfaction and strengthens that sense of self. Like the video game example they use. If you value connection but spend hours gaming to numb loneliness, recognizing that misalignment lets you shift.
And you need proper you time for this.
Essential,
Yeah.
not selfish. Reading, music, journaling, whatever, helps you hear your own thoughts instead of just seeking distraction.
The source also mentions seeking professional help if needed, right, for deeper issues impacting sense of self.
Yes, a brief but important point.
So summarizing this first part, develop that sense of self, know your values, spend time getting to know you, and confidence naturally grows. You know where you stand.
It's the groundwork for everything else.
All right, moving outwards.
Right.
Listening. The source says it's fundamental, but most of us don't do it right.
Pretty much. It breaks listening into two types. Listening to understand versus,
Listening to respond, which is what most of us do.
yeah, instinctively.
Yeah.
You're not really absorbing, just waiting for your turn to jump in with your point, like the vegan daughter example.
Trying to explain her choice to her dad, and he just keeps talking about steak.
Exactly. He's not trying to get why she's vegan. He's just prepping his counter-argument.
The goal, then, is listening to understand, trying to grasp the facts, sure, but also why they think or feel that way.
That's the path to meaningful conversation. And it's a skill, learnable, needs practice. The source mentions studies, like from MSU, showing it gets easier.
Okay, so how do we learn to listen to understand? What are the techniques?
First, give your full attention. Sounds basic, but it's huge. Phone away, TV off, eye contact, face them, no multitasking.
The palm trick, focusing on your palm to recenter.
Yeah, a little mental reset. In that old Harvard study, finding like a 40% jump in comprehension just from consciously focusing attention, that's massive.
40%, just from being present, wow.
It's huge. Second, hear the other person out. Resist interrupting. It signals disrespect, like you're just waiting to talk.
Let go of your own point for a minute.
Exactly. Let them finish. Or ask a quick clarifying question before you launch into your bit. Give their thoughts space.
Makes sense. Third,
Use your body to listen. Face them, nod, maybe small smiles, those little or yes, open posture. It shows you're tracking.
okay. And fourth, repeating back.
Yeah, repeat back their points for clarity. Paraphrase. So if I'm hearing you right, ask clarifying questions. What did you mean by? Repeat key words. It makes them feel heard, encourages openness.
And then you respond.
Then respond, and not just jumping back to your original point. Address what they actually said. Maybe pause a second to show you're thinking about it.
Chapter 3 adds a bit more, like really locking the phone away.
Yeah, minimizing distractions even more. And maybe avoiding eating or drinking during intense talks can be distracting.
And the judgment piece, being free from judgments.
Crucial. If you go in defensive or ready to dismiss, you're not truly listening. You're just prepping for battle. Stepping outside judgment lets you learn.
So listening is mechanics and mindset. Give attention, don't interrupt, use your body, clarify. Practice that. Conversations get richer.
And people listen back more, too.
Okay, so if listening is the foundation, asking questions is the engine.
That's what the source calls it. A powerful tool for talking to anyone about anything.
3 main functions, right? Guiding the conversation
Getting clarity.
and finding common ground.
Yeah, but it's a balance, not an interrogation.
Yeah.
Mix questions with sharing your own stuff.
Right. But they direct things. Like the how was your weekend example, watch Netflix is a dead end unless
Unless you ask a follow-up. Oh, yeah. Anything good? Looking for something action-packed? Boom, you're talking TV shows.
Or clarity, got a new dog. Instead of nice, ask how's he settling in. Then if they mention chewing.
You dig deeper. Chewing,
Yeah.
like everything. Using questions to get the specifics.
And understanding ties back to listening, asking, have you looked up training tips? Shows you're engaged.
So direction, clarity, understanding, those are the goals. And start conversations with questions, not just, how are you?
For strangers, use the environment. Got the time. Where's the coffee shop?
Exactly. Or comment on something shared nearby. That carnival looks nuts, huh?
And the source gives those great lists of questions for dates.
Yeah, moving beyond resumes, free time, morning or night person, dream job, even fun ones like cutest animal or strangest turning point reveals personality.
And for general small talk anywhere, hope never changes, guilty pleasure song, fictional place, good for groups too.
Definitely. But a key tip, find the line. Don't dive into super personal stuff too early. Finances, politics, religion, save those for trusted folks.
Yeah, build rapport first. Don't make people uncomfortable.
And remember social hierarchy. Adapt your language a bit depending on if it's a peer, your boss, a client, for effectiveness.
So recap on questions. Lots of open-ended ones. What, how, why. Use them for direction, clarity, understanding. Have go-to questions ready. Be mindful of timing for sensitive topics.
Nailed it. And Chapter 5 brings it all together. A practical guide to having the conversation.
Starting with reading the room and first impressions. How we size people up and how they size us up.
Like the substitute teacher analogy, everyone's testing the waters. Observe their tone, clothes, stress level, smile, handshake, body language.
And trust your gut instinct. Body language is huge, right?
Yeah.
55%.
Around that, yeah. Plus tone, posture, crossed arms, hidden hands, fidgeting, facial expressions. They all tell a story. That trading floor study showed gut feelings often point to something real.
So you read the cues, then adapt your approach. Gentler if they seem stressed.
Exactly. Then step 2, making the first move. Overcoming that social anxiety, the fear of bothering someone.
The tip is to approach indirectly, for a simple, low-stakes reason.
Right. Like the dating analogy, focus on the interaction itself, not some huge outcome. Ask for the time, directions, if the line's right. Breaks the ice gently.
That's step 3. Find the connection. Look for similarities, hobbies, music, the shared environment.
And say it, hey, me too. Or, ugh, this weight is killing me. Vocalizing common ground builds rapport fast. Like the concert bar example. Notice stress, offer empathy, find connection.
Which leads to mirroring, subtly reflecting their style.
Yeah, tone, posture, speed, energy. Studies show it makes you more relatable, builds comfort, match their energy basically. If they're slow and quiet, you match that. If they're bouncy, you can too.
Mimic voice speed, gesture size, body language, energy level. Find that rhythm.
Then step 4, dealing with unresponsive people. Sometimes it just doesn't click. Bad day, shy, whatever.
And it's okay to politely bail. Nice chatting, gotta run.
Totally fine. But if you need to push forward, there's elicitation. Getting people to share info using statements, not just questions.
Leveraging psychology, like using compliments.
Yeah, genuine ones. Plays on the desire for praise. I really like your coat. You handle that so calmly.
Or complaining, sharing a mutual dislike, like the weather.
Right. Studies show people complain a lot, often to start talking. Shared frustration creates instant common ground.
The Breaking Bad example, the detective using compliments like, you seem smart, to get Walt talking.
Exactly. Appeals to self-image. So the steps. Read them, manage your impression, break the ice simply, have a goal, but enjoy the moment. Find common ground, mirror, and have tools like elicitation if needed.
Okay, chapter 6 zooms in on small talk. The source says it's the start of almost every relationship, right?
Pretty much. Outside immediate family.
Oh.
Think Kyle at the wedding or awkward dating app chats. We've all been there.
And mastering it is a learned, lifelong skill.
Absolutely. The 4 core foundations: open-ended questions,
Check.
proactive listening,
Check.
minimizing distractions,
Check.
and the 4th, showing enthusiasm.
The power of enthusiasm, energy, passion, vibrancy. This elevates small talk.
Totally. Your energy makes it engaging, encourages others. It's about your attitude, genuinely wanting to connect, learn, have fun.
How do you do that? How do you exert natural energy?
Well, you can consciously act more energetic, talk a bit louder, vary your tone, use inflection, make it interesting to listen to.
And highlight how you feel. Be genuine about agreeing or disagreeing.
Yes, totally agree. Or, I see it differently, I feel like. More authentic, more assertive. People often appreciate the honesty.
And basic self-care fuels this. Exercise, sleep, water.
Makes a huge difference in your natural energy levels. And surround yourself with the right people. Positive influences lift you up. Negative ones drain you.
Finding topics can still feel tricky, though.
Listening is key. Pick up clues. Common areas. Location, food, travel, sports, hobbies, art, local stuff.
The bus stop rain example shows this well. Simple weather comment leads to
A creative question. Where would this bus take you? Which leads to travel talk, shared passion. The first person's enthusiasm invited the second person's energy.
Sometimes you have to carry the conversation, though, right? If the other person is shy or out of practice.
Yeah, and that's okay. You have the tools now to help them open up. It might be more common now, social media and stuff.
And meaningful relationships take time. Small talk is just step 1. Like the pottery class story, boring chat leads to deep friendships over time.
Exactly. It builds trust. More go-to topics: weather, safe, entertainment, movies, books, sports, brief personal life, hometown, pets, work, keep it light. Listen for shared interests, switch if needed.
Then the crucial list. Topics to avoid in small talk.
Right, especially with new people. Finances, too personal, judgmental. Religion, politics, too charged. Death, too heavy. Sex, too personal, awkward. Health, unsolicited advice. Gossip, negative. Offensive jokes, risky. Appearance comments, sensitive. Exes, negative. And flogging a dead horse if they're not interested.
Got it. And practice is key. Get in the pool.
Look for chances everywhere. Cashier, person in line, wherever.
And that mindset trick. Pretend you are friends.
Powerful stuff. Based on that Hebbian principle, act like you're already comfortable and connected, and your brain starts wiring that way. Makes you more open, confident.
Like a mental shortcut to rapport. And setting objectives helps. Having a subtle goal.
Gives direction, fun, get to know them, network. Influences your energy, topics. So, small talk recap.
Be energetic, genuine, no topics, and avoid the bad ones. Practice everywhere. Act like friends. Have goals. Practice makes perfect.
Moving on to chapters 7 and 8, charisma and confidence. Supporting skills.
Yeah, charisma is that charm making people want to be around you. Confidence is believing in yourself in a good outcome.
Being charismatic starts with feeling like you own the situation, managing nerves, focusing on the moment.
Exactly. Don't put insane pressure on the outcome. Accept imperfection. And relatability is key. Connect what you say to them.
Like the swimming story guy lost his audience because they couldn't relate.
Right. Ask questions to find that connection. Humor, if it's natural, use it. Watch comedy, learn jokes maybe, but don't force being a comedian.
And giving to people. Genuine compliments, full attention, politeness, honesty, without expecting anything back.
That generosity is magnetic. So, charisma. You belong. Be relatable. Remember names, briefly mentioned. Let humor flow naturally. Give freely. Practice.
Now, confidence. The source really pushes fake it till you make it.
Strongly. Again, it's about that brain wiring. Acting confident fires those neural circuits. Like Tony Robbins on the trampoline, embodying the state physically.
So watch confident people. Practice in the mirror. Apply it in small ways.
Yeah, define what confidence looks like to you and practice being that person. And actively overcome thoughts that hold you back, those limiting beliefs.
Journaling, meditation, therapy can help identify those.
Definitely. Awareness is the first step. Power poses help too, that physical hack.
Yeah. Stand tall, chest open for 30-60 seconds before something stressful can actually shift your feelings.
And eye contact, cornerstone of confidence. Avoiding it signals insecurity. Aim for 60–70%.
Roughly. For emotional connection. Tips. Focus on one eye or eyebrows if it's tough. Practice.
And slow down. Talking fast, nervousness. Consciously slowing down makes you sound and feel more in control. Around 190 words per minute is a good target.
So, confidence. Act it to become it. Challenge negative thoughts. Use eye contact. Slow down. Practice. Portray the self-image you want. Small steps lead to big leaps.
Right. Chapter 9 shifts to storytelling. Crucial because humans are wired for stories, right?
Yeah.
We crave substance beyond small talk.
And telling good stories makes you interesting. First step. Find that killer plot line. Believe your life is interesting. Learn to frame everyday stuff.
Like the supermarket manager example. Boring. I manage a supermarket. Interesting. Sometimes I feel like a detective. Introduce conflict. Hook them.
Find stories in your job, your week, plans, hobbies, the bonsai tree story. Mundane task made interesting by unexpected details, green water staining the counter.
Or the cat story. Boring. Watch Netflix? Interesting. My cat went nuts, climbed the curtains, got stuck. Unexpected, funny. Creates curiosity.
The source says it's how you tell it. Think about stories you like. Funny, exciting, wholesome. Tell those with passion.
And add relatability. Shared emotions, experiences, embarrassment, happiness, struggle. Stories that make us feel.
For short stories, the 1.1.1 method. One action, one sentence summary. One emotion.
Yeah. Drop plate on date action. Felt mortified.
Yeah.
Emotion, no second date. Summary. Gets to the core fast. Start near the grit, the interesting part.
Like the jailbreak, start with the escape, not the backstory. And for longer stories, use structure, like Pixar's model.
Right. Foundations, setting character if needed.
Yeah.
Intro, routine, tension, conflict, disruption, emotion. Consequences, more consequences, drive it home.
The main goal is finding those moments and telling them in a captivating way.
Exactly. Which leads nicely into Chapter 10. Becoming an interesting person. Living an interesting life makes you more interesting to talk to and happier.
It acknowledges falling into bad habits, binge watching, putting off dreams, like the author struggling with writing.
The goal, linking back to sense of self, is figuring out what matters to you and cutting out stuff that doesn't serve that.
So, tips for becoming more interesting.
Read more books. Opens doors to new topics, connections, like reading Dark Matter led to a chat about quantum physics. You never know.
Switch up your routine. Do unexpected things just because. Like the sunrise hike led to seeing baby foxes. Creates novelty, stories.
Volunteer your time. Good for others, good for you.
Yeah.
Gain experiences, meet people. Even cleaning cat cages involves learning and stories.
And invest your time wisely. Treat time like currency. Where does it really go? Choose activities that add value, growth, experience. And finally, have interesting conversations yourself. Go beyond the weather. Ask about projects, weird food, bucket lists. These questions open worlds.
It's about proactively curating your life and interactions. Leads to a richer life, makes you more engaging.
Which brings us to the end goal, Chapter 11. Developing meaningful relationships. Moving beyond surface level.
Yeah, It tackles that paradox. Hyper-connected online, yet lonelier. Remembering how easy friendship seemed as kids versus the anxiety adults feel.
But the benefits are unparalleled. Deep connections, huge value, live longer, better mental health, confidence, resilience, healthiest thing you can do.
And online isn't a substitute for real connection. Need to make time for actual experiences, real conversations.
It's also realistic. You can't be friends with everyone. And that's okay. Focus where there's a natural connection.
And crucially, spend time with your new friends. Consistency matters. Create shared memories. Adapt if needed, like during COVID walks, calls.
Support each other. Through hard times, yes, but also everyday stuff, growth journeys, like the Hill study a friend literally makes challenges feel smaller.
And the absolute most important thing for deep connection.
Be yourself.
Yes. Masks are exhausting, create distance. Real friends accept the real you, flaws, changes, and all.
So for meaningful relationships, understand your blocks, accept you won't click with everyone, invest time, support each other, and be authentic. That's where all these skills lead.
Absolutely.
And that wraps up our deep dive into this source material. We've gone from understanding yourself to learning specific skills, listening, questions, stories, charisma, confidence.
All building towards that goal of meaningful connection.
And the core message, I think, is that these are skills, you can learn them. It takes practice, stepping out of your comfort zone.
But every small step makes a difference. Consistency is key.
So you, our listener, now have this map drawn from the source to help navigate communication and connection in your own life.
And remember, it's an ongoing journey. Always more to learn, deeper connections to build.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over this week, inspired by the source. What if you consciously applied just one of these practices?
Maybe really focus on listening fully to one person, or ask one slightly more interesting question than usual, or just make better eye contact.
How could that one small change shift your very next interaction?
And if it shifts one interaction, what's the ripple effect over time as you keep practicing, maybe layering in more skills?
The potential for connection is huge, and it starts with that first conscious step. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.